Now in this quick video, I'm going to take you through all the different short codes and little widgets that we've added up here to kind of help you in building out your page. I'm going to show you what specifically each one does and what situations you would use it, and its best use practices, I guess I could say. You may not be able to see those if you don't have this expanded out, but it's always going to show up on the visual. If you go to text, they go away. So make sure you're on visual to be able to see these. So start off right away. The first one you see here with the little money shaker icon is just an easy way to be able to insert the shortcode. So whatever shortcodes you have into shortcodes, dynamic shortcodes, or at manager, they will all show up here so that you can easily just click and insert it in there. So you notice that I have all the different ones on here that I've created. So if I just wanted to insert, let's say, city, I just go over to the insert city right there, puts it right into my contact. Now next post, previous post is just an easy way of inserting the link to the next and previous post, just like we've always done it before. If you remember, we had a menu here that basically just gave you something to copy and paste, but we noticed a lot of people were having issues with that. So I figured this would be the easiest way, and the way I like to do it is I'll select the word, I'll copy it, and then I'll hit next post, and I can paste that word right in there, because basically what I'm pasting in here is the anchor text that I'm going to use with that specific link going to the next post or to the previous post. And you notice automatically it turns it into a hyperlink. If we go to the text side and take a look at that, we'll notice that it just adds the code that we were using previously. It just does it automatically, so you don't have to worry about making sure that you're doing that correctly. And just remember, when you hit the next post, you can put spin tags in there. You can put that a few different keywords in there if you want, so it doesn't just have to be one word. Same thing with previous post. Now we have this little weather icon here to actually add a weather widget. There's a couple things to keep in mind with this, and that it's right now it only works for the US, and when you go to insert it, I'm just going to go ahead and click it in here, but when you go to insert it, it's going to ask, the first thing that I'll ask you is to enter the sort code for the city only. So you got to make sure that you have a list of just cities, no state abbreviation, no state, no nothing, just the city itself. So you enter that one, and then you also need one for the state, the full state, not the abbreviation. So you're going to have those two separate shortcodes already built in, and you would put in whatever they are. For me, they just happen to be city and state. If my city shortcodes is just the city itself, and state is just the full state. So then it should give you a weather icon. A weather widget just shows, I think, the current weather and the forecast for the day. Just something to give more relevancy to the page. You can put the, usually I just throw this at the very bottom of the page. I'm not interested in people actually seeing it. This is more for Google to give that relevancy. The map icon works the same way. It says enter a shortcode so that the result will be city or state abbreviation. So for me, I have it built in that it's city, state, short. You just change that to whatever makes sense, however you have your shortcodes. And this one should work worldwide. All it does is doing a Google query. So if you're doing a worldwide one, just make sure you do maybe city, state, and country. But that should work well for anywhere in the world. The YouTube video is something a little bit differently that we're also doing, and basically the way I've got it set up is when you click it allows you to insert a YouTube video right into the post, but it's gonna rotate every time that the page loads up. I was doing this for a few reasons, to make sure that whenever the Googlebot hits it, we always have nice, relevant, fresh content, so we always have a different video. And I do have it built into where it has the schema, the schema markup, so that it's all relevant to what Google is looking for as far as the video markup. And you're able to actually load up a few keywords, so that every time it loads up, it gives you a slightly different video, or puts a different video in all the different posts. So when you click on this, it's going to ask you what the keywords are for your video, and this is so that it knows what kind of video to pull up. And for the best results, keep it general. Don't try to put cities in there because once you drill it down to the city level, there might not be as many videos on YouTube to kind of pull from. So just kind of the general gist of what the site's about. So you would do that. And then on the next page or in the next dialogue, you can actually set the title that's going to show above the video, and this is what's going to be used for the schema markup. So this is where you would, in this one, you would use city just to keep it relevant to the post. But notice it's just going to add a shortcode, and so when it builds out the page, it will populate that with the correct video. Now the following icon, it's just the find and replace. And when I talk about the spinner settings, you'll see why this is important. Basically, if you're going to use one of the spinners, they don't like it if we already have the city shortcode in there. It just tends to kind of get a little funky. So whenever we're doing things with spinning, I'll put in an actual city name, such as Miami. And then once the spin syntax comes back, then I'll use find and replace to find Miami and then replace with the actual city shortcode, just like that. And you would first need to hit find so that it finds it, and then replace all. And so if you have something in your text that you want to quickly change, that's one way to do it. Next page, previous page works exactly the same way as next post, previous post, but if you're doing pages. And this is if you're doing some kind of directory pages or something where you want to interlink them together. So they work exactly the same way. It's just that it's pages instead of post. One thing to keep in mind is that there is a WordPress limitation, and we just cannot do 15,000 pages. We've attempted it, and it works to where you can actually see the pages, but if you wanted to get into your dashboard, it goes to a crawl. So this is more if you're going to do something like maybe a directory with the 50 states, so you're doing those 50 pages. I'll show a little bit more of what I'm working, how I'm doing that with the advanced silo setup, but that's in there for that. And then finally, random post gives you a list of random posts from a specific category, and it's I think I've got it limited to about 5. So the way I've been using it is at the bottom of the post, I will just say, other cities you may be interested in, and since since it's divided up by categories, then usually the category, at least in my setups, ends up being state. So I can separate it out to where it only shows 5 cities from that specific state. Something like other cities in Florida you may be interested in, and it will just list those 5 posts. And when you click these, it's going to ask you to put in the category name that the random posts are in, and if you've got your category set up as state, then it should just pull it right from that and display those 5 posts in there. It just shows a list of 5 right at the bottom. So just to add that extra relevancy, but a lot of them, if you notice, they're just to add relevancy to that local city, local state, especially the weather, the Google map, the video, and then these random posts just all kind of tie it around that and just make it as relevant as possible to that specific city or that specific state.